Oh my God. Well, looks like it's time once again, ladies and gentlemen, for another jaunt in a romp or sprint into the paranormal portal, as it were. Hope you guys are doing great. Thanks so much for being here with me. As always, it's hump day. It's halfway to the weekend and the bliss and the relaxation and such for a lot of you. And so I hope your week is going good, but truly and very heartfelt wise, I mean it when I say thank you for coming and spending part of your week and weekends with me. That's always incredible to me. And I know it sometimes maybe sounds played out like, you said that before, but it's still, it couldn't be any more true. I was going to say any less true, but I mean any more true. I couldn't be more sincere about that. That's, it's just awesome to come in here and see all the friendly, familiar faces and names popping up. It's like, wow, yeah, we're back. We are back. And so now, as far as tonight's show is going, you just get me. Don wasn't feeling well tonight, so he had to take a rain check. So unfortunately, won't have the big toe here tonight, but you got me. So I'll do my best to pull both lines and make it as fun as I know how to. But yeah, we hope Don gets better. It's a lot of crap going around right now, and that's really unfortunate. And I'm just hearing about this news out of Maine, and I'm so sorry to hear that something so horrible and tragic has happened. It's just, God, it just tears the heart out of me. That's there's so much pain out there, and there's so many that are motivated to create more pain. And my heart and prayers and my condolences go out to all of those that are affected by it, and maybe to all of us, because when things like this happen, they happen to us as a global society. They happen to us as a global community. And so I just think it's probably now more than ever, there's a lot of people out there that are spreading anger. They're spreading, mistrust. They're spreading, hurt And I think it's more important now than ever to do our best to spread love and to spread kindness and to spread, warmth and caring and compassion to all the world and all those around us. Because, and I don't mean to get preachy and get up on my soapbox, but this is the box that I have to get up on. And so I just, I don't know. I just, at the end of every show, I always encourage you all, look, be good, be kind, be nice, take care of each other, help each other out. And those words are important to me because they're very personal. Some of those words were given to me as advice in my life, and some of them I just hold very dear to my heart, that I think it's important to try to bring light and love to the world, especially now when it's so painful. There's so much fear, and there's so much vitriol, and there's so much division. And I think we can't let them manufacture our truths for us. We can't let those people, whether they're media talking heads that keep pushing suspicion and doubt and anger, or if it's political talking heads or whatever. I just think we have to create our own world, and I think that we do manifest our life. And so just try to manifest the best you can around you. And maybe it doesn't feel like it matters when you're in this big, crap storm that we're in, but it does matter. It matters. And maybe just a smile matters to somebody that needed to see someone smile. Maybe that you're the first person to say hello and to be kind to them all day long. We just don't know. And so every act has purpose and has meaning, and it has repercussions. Of course, we see how the dark acts affect the world around us, but the good things do too. And so just don't surrender to the fear and the anger and the hatred and the divisiveness that's going on. Just do your best to create a better version of us. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to get off my soapbox. It's just, I don't know. I don't like to get preachy on the shows because I don't think it's up to me to try to, like I'm not an arbiter of truth in any regard. I'm an arbiter of my own truth. And I just think, look, I don't have a big voice, but this is my voice, and this is my hope, and so maybe that matters. Maybe it doesn't, but I feel better doing it. I feel better saying it. So anyway, enough of that. So good to see you all coming in the door. And I'm just going to do my best to entertain you as well as I know how. I got several news articles. We got another article I want to get to dealing with some creepy paranormal stories, which is kind of the whole theme of the show. But this one's an article dealing with 33 paranormal experiences people had. Another short form story article. And then we're going to get into the cryptid corner. So we got a lot to get to. So I will do my best to give you the best time I know how to give you legally. There'll be nothing illegal going on here. Let me tell you that. So anyway, let's get to the news, I think. Let's see what's going on in the news verse since the last time we talked. It's the most trusted news, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll be you're playing the part of your most trusted anchor. And hopefully you feel that your trust is well served here in the portal. So without further delay, let's get to the first article. I said something other than to do. I finally broke that cycle. Here comes a story from unexplained-mysteries.com. Please support this site. It's amazing. It's awesome and relevant, timely, and perfect, usually bite-sized articles for us to cover here on the news. So the first one up, please support that site. Please stop over there and visit them and spread the love. They're working hard over there. So the first article is unexplained-mysteries.com. Strange metallic UFO filmed from passenger airliner over Colombia. That's a pretty good one. It's, it's kind of it's on the screen now. This one really reminds me a lot of the one that I saw. And that's kind of, it's not the really wide classical flying saucer UFO, but this is more like what I saw, in that it does seem like there's some distance between the upper and the lower where they come together, and maybe that's where those panels are. Now, I don't know. It's just a real fuzzy picture, and it goes by really quick. I think there'll be footage. Yeah, there's footage here, so we can check out the footage as well. But let's see what's going on. This one's going on over at Colombia. Says the footage, which recently emerged on YouTube after being posted on a forum, appears to defy explanation. The airline pilots made some of the best witnesses when it comes to UFO sightings, but passengers aboard airline flights can also be good sources of sightings, especially when equipped with a camera. This latest example, which was uploaded onto YouTube by the user at Enceladilla, shows a peculiar metallic object moving at high speed through the clouds next to a passenger airliner. The plane was from Bogota, Salento, Colombia at the time. According to the uploader, the clip first appeared on the Spanish Foro Coches. I don't know if that's coaches or coches or coches. I'm sorry, my worldly vocabulary is very limited. Internet forum, which primarily deals with discussions on the subject of cars and transportation. So yeah, it's not like the place somebody would probably start a hoax. But anyway, while little else is known about the footage, it's certainly interesting. The object is quite clear, and it's not all that apparent what it could be, although a hoax cannot be ruled out. You can check out the clip for yourself below. What do you think? Well, let's do that. We're going to go to, it looks like it's hosted by OVNI. ¿Qué es esto? OVNI. Let's check it out, OVNI, and see the footage for yourself. Let me just pull up my broadcasting software so I can see if it's actually on the screen. Appears to be. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, right there. All right, let's check out the footage, and we'll see what it looks like. And it's already muted. There you go. Let me blow it up, actually, so you guys can really see it. And there you go. I mean, that's what it looks like out a plane window. There it is. Center your screen. Yeah, I mean, it's not like traveling at terrific speed or anything. In fact, it looks almost stationary. So could it be an inflatable? Maybe. If somebody had an inflatable balloon, I guess it could be, but I'm just looking, see if there's any good, come on, get out of there. If there's any good freeze frames here that we could check out. Oh, it's skipping. I got to be playing. What? It shouldn't be jumping like that. But anyway, here it comes again. Now, the curious part is, I mean, I guess it's pretty common for passengers to say, hey, look, I'm above the clouds. It's so cool. And they take footage of it, so they just happen to have their phone out. But it is kind of maybe a little bit suspect that they managed to catch a UFO when they were looking at the clouds. But if you're traveling on a plane and you're above the clouds and you're like, hey, that's cool. Look at this. I mean, I've taken tons of pictures of the clouds when I'm up on planes, so I don't fault the person for actually having their phone out. And in some cases, you're like, well, why were they actually shooting video at this time and managed to just capture this 1 in a million sighting? So sometimes that can be suspect, but out of the window of a plane, that's like every flight people are doing that. So that is not suspect. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it could be a real UFO? Do you think it could be? I think it's possible. I mean, again, that looks very similar to the type of craft that I saw. I say flying saucer because, I mean, even though it looks kind of more like I don't know, maybe a football, it did have a circular disc-like shape, the one that I saw. And this one's pretty straight on, so it's hard to see what any other, whether it's geometrically the same as the one I saw, but it, at least on first looks, appears very similar to what I actually encountered when I had my first sighting. So I like this story. I think it looks pretty legit, but again, you guys be the judge. This show will never be about, hey, you should believe this. Believe what you want, but I think it looks good. So that's the first one up tonight on the News Fest, and I think it's a good one. And I had seen that footage before. It's been making the rounds, but it's a pretty good capture. And I think as time goes on, as cameras keep getting better, we'll get more and more of these. And it's going to be kind of just like, oh yeah, there's another one. Not really that unusual. But anyway, let's get to the next article up on the news tonight. And this is also from unexplained-mysteries.com. Sorry, I'm a little raspy. It's that, whenever I use dry like heaters, it dries out the air so terribly. So if it's not allergies, it's heaters. But that, and I don't talk a lot during the day. So when I do actually get the microphone going, it's like, oh yeah, I'm kicking up all the carbon and stuff that's in my lung. I don't know if it's carbon, just a engine reference. But anyway, here's the next one up tonight on the news. It's long lost continent Argoland, located 155 million years later. This is apparently a continent that was somehow part of Australia initially, but it's kind of disappeared. So scientists have determined the whereabouts of a large chunk of Australia that broke off in the distant past. The Earth's continents might seem stationary today, but they are in fact moving ever so slowly and have been doing so for hundreds of millions of years, gradually shifting the layout of the map. Yeah, the tectonic drift, sure. I think we all know a little bit about that. The mountains, in many cases, are forced up from plates colliding. It says, now one more piece of this gargantuan jigsaw puzzle has finally been slotted into place thanks to a new study into a chunk of Australia that broke away some 155 million years ago. Measuring over 3,000 miles across and known as Argoland, this wayward piece of land is now thought to have drifted to the northwest and ended up at what is today the islands of Southeast Asia. This doesn't mean that there is a veritable lost world beneath the waves, however. No kidding, really. Instead, Argoland gradually broke up over millions of years and no longer resembles the vast swath of land it started out as. This also made it very difficult for the researchers to find out what happened to it. The situation in Southeast Asia is very different from places like Africa and South America, where a continent broke into two pieces, said study co-author Eldert Advocat. I don't know how you say that. Argoland splintered into many different shards. We were literally dealing with the islands of information, which is why our research took so long. We spent 7 years putting the puzzle together. You can check out the reconstruction of Argoland's movements below. Why not? I'm thinking, why not? Let's do it. This is from GEO, the Faculty of Geosciences or Sciences at Ulrecht University. Ooh, that was good. That was a good one. All right, here we go. Let's check it out, see what happened here. There it is, and there it goes. Boom. Oh, look, it's becoming Indonesia and the Philippines and other things. Okay. Huh. I don't know. I don't know how this is all going to work out, man. That's a big puzzle. It looks quite a bit different than what I was expecting. Okay. No kidding, man. These things really, really traveled. It's still taking shape. Or is that... What the hell's going on? Mm-hmm. Ooh, crash back into there. Yep. It's going to be... That's crazy how all that moved over all these billions of years. There goes India. Get into your place, India. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Some pictures there. I don't want to be broadcasting on the suggested list. But yeah, interesting. So there we go. The mystery solved. It's now part of Australia and the other Asian islands over there, New Guinea, etc. I don't know. I didn't know that before today. Did you? You're welcome. All right. Let's get to the next one up on the news. And this one is going to be from this one. We got two more. Yeah, two more. This one goes back to a haunting case, one of the most famous, actually. And this one, I think, is out of England. And it's talking about the Enfield poltergeist case. And this is apparently the photographer that worked documenting some of the activity over there. And from unexplained-mysteries.com comes this article. Enfield poltergeist photographer maintains paranormal force theory. Okay. And it says the man that filmed Janet Hodgson levitating from her bed denies ever saying that she just jumped. There are a few paranormal cases as widely debated as the Enfield poltergeist, a spate of chilling paranormal incidents that occurred from 1977 to 1979 at the home of mother of four Peggy Hodgson in Enfield, London. Over the course of 18 months, the unexplained disturbances occurred at the house, escalating from items of furniture being shaken to objects being thrown around, loud knocking sounds, and most terrifyingly of all, the alleged possession of 11-year-old Janet, one of the Hodgson's four children. Yeah, that's creepy. Several people, including multiple police officers, witnessed these events. Notable researcher Maurice Gross from the Society of Psychical Research spent significant amounts of time observing and recording the poltergeist activity at the house. Photographer Graham Morris was also tasked with capturing photographic evidence of this phenomena. Now Morris, whose most famous images from the case are showed Janet Hodgson allegedly levitating from her bed by an unseen force, has denied ever claiming that she just jumped and maintains that some sort of paranormal force was responsible for the phenomena. There's no way she's doing this for fun, he said. You've got to be mad to actually want to do something like that. It was a completely darkened room, and if it were the case she were jumping, she'd be launching herself at a brick wall or a door in pitch black. Morris maintains that he does not believe in the existence of ghosts, but that some sort of paranormal power possessed by Janet herself was most likely culprit. I think this girl is some sort of force. She's a Jedi. And a thumping good one, too. She's desperate. She's desperate to get this, whatever it is. This power, whatever she has, across and out to communicate with people. And it's coming out in different ways in a sort of force. Like a kinetic energy where things shifting around. I don't know. I know the image that they're talking about. There's one where she's like kind of up in the air. It looks like she's jumping across. And it does look like she might have been bouncing on the bed and leaped or something. I don't know. But could this guy just be trying to save face? Maybe, because he passed it off as just, a jumping picture as something spooky. Maybe he's just covering his own tail. I don't know. Maybe it's truly paranormal. I wasn't there. I don't know, but the pose doesn't look strikingly like a shocked or scared child. It looks like, like almost a gleeful leap, And so, yeah, I don't know. I should maybe look for the image, see if I can find it. Let's see. Enfield. Let's see if I can find it. I always screw that up. I wonder why. Enfield poltergeist. GIST images. I want to see if I can find it. Okay, here's. Well, that's the image. Maybe I can pull up Google Images here and see if we can get a. Yeah, this is the one. Okay. All right. Here's the actual image. I'm going to pull it over to the page, and you can see for yourself. But so he's maintaining that was just a paranormal force doing that. I don't know. It does look like she might have been leaping from the bed. Could it have been something other than that? Yeah, it could. But it could have been just her leaping from a bed too. So it's kind of, even though he's got an image of it, it's not, I mean, she's looking the direction she's going. So I don't know if it was completely blackened as he claims or not. I don't know. I wasn't there. Again, I'll say that the carpeting and the walls are just really, really bad decorating right there. They got David Soul poster on the wall. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still not convinced that this is her being levitated or whatever. But I mean, even her hair is up, which would show that she's actually on a bit of a descent right there. Her hair is lifting up a bit. If it was just flat, like gravity, then yeah, it might make me believe it a little more. But even her hair is puffed up, and that's that to me is a bit of a giveaway. And including the night dress coming up a little bit on the legs and the strap, the tie on the neck, they're all coming up as if she's on a descent right here. So I don't know. I'm not sure that I believe it was poltergeisty or even paranormal force. I think the kid was jumping and he caught a shot of it, but believe what you will. Again, I just think you can't dismiss the things that are painfully obvious. The hair's flying up, the tie is flying up, her night dress is flying up a little bit, and she's looking the direction she's going. It doesn't seem like it was just, wait, what do I do? Help me. But it might be, but I'm certainly not convinced. That's my take. Again, I'm not an expert, but I do try to look at these things objectively and with logic. So, but you believe what you want. The takeaway is believe what you want. You might be right. You might be wrong. Hell, it's a coin toss for any of us, honestly. We weren't there. We don't know. One more to go tonight, and this is the last article in our news fest. And then we'll get on with the rest of the show. But this is from Unexplained Mysteries. Now, I like these stories because this one has to do with the moon. And there is quite a bit of controversy about where did the moon come from, our moon. Because the Earth's moon is very atypical for moons in just the observable universe. Our moon is way bigger than any other planet's moons in comparison to its host planet. Our moon is also in a very odd orbit that doesn't occur anywhere else. It's very peculiar. There is apparently some studies suggesting that the moon is actually potentially millions of years older than the Earth. So it does seem like maybe it came from here. Now, also with the moon, and this is things that we've covered on the show, throughout the history of the show, we've covered, some moon anomalies. The other thing that comes up is that I believe it's the Cherokee, but it might be another First Nations tribe, has stories of when the moon first arrived, when it first showed up, meaning that there was no observable moon prior to this moon showing up, and then suddenly it was there. So where did it come from? How did it get here? How could it be older than the host planet that it's supposedly from? So that's some of the moon controversies that are out there. I think it's incredibly interesting. But let's see what this article says, because I haven't pre-read this. We're going to learn this together. But this is the article from unexplained-mysteries.com. The moon may be 40 million years older than previously thought. Well, that's not a little thing. I don't know if they're going to go into the controversies or not. But 40 million years is a long time. A new analysis of samples collected during the Apollo 17 mission has raised new questions about the age of the moon. For some time now, the general consensus among scientists has been that the moon formed somewhere around 4.5 billion years ago, roughly 60 million years after the formation of the solar system. But now a new study has suggested that this date might not be entirely accurate and that the moon actually formed roughly 40 million years earlier, making it slightly older than was previously believed. This revelation comes courtesy of a new study which saw scientists conduct a renewed analysis of lunar samples collected by the astronauts during the Apollo 17 mission in 1972. To determine the moon's age, the team looked closely at a mineral called zircon, which is present within the samples. The mineral was thought to have formed during the solidification of the moon's molten surface, shortly after the collision that brought about its formation. By dating the zircon, therefore, it's possible to determine how long ago this formation occurred. It's amazing It's amazing being able to have proof that the rock you're holding is the oldest bit of the moon we've found so far, said study lead author Janika Greer of the University of Glasgow. It's an anchor point for so many questions about the Earth. When you know how old something is, you can better understand what's happened to it in its history. Yeah. Well, that's just talking about the moon itself, but about these other things, I don't know. It's pretty strange, but apparently the moon rings like a bell too if you drop drop a bomb on it. NASA did some experiments back during the Apollo missions, and apparently the moon rang like a bell for hours after they dropped a fuel tank, and it detonated on the surface. So, or something like that. They dropped something that hit the moon pretty hard, and it actually resonated the whole moon. So like it was a bell. What do you make of that? But the mystery continues, and but the news doesn't. So we're going to wrap up the news right here, folks. I hope you guys learned something. Hope you're heading into tomorrow with a much more informed position than how you came. And so with that, let's get back to the rest of the show and see what else we got in store for you. That's a good point. Barbara, yeah, that huge scrape on Mars. That's a good point. The huge scrape on Mars. That's another anomaly that they're not quite sure what happened there. There's several theories. Some have to do with the electric universe. They call it the electric universe theory, that another astral body had come close to there or almost collided and created this huge arc on the surface of Mars and maybe tore up its atmosphere. And that's maybe what caused Mars to just kind of go, nipples up, as it were. I don't know if nipples up is a good saying, but, just the whole, belly up of a fish. That's kind of where that comes from. Nothing really inappropriate. But it sounds inappropriate as hell. Hello, audio. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. So, anyway, I don't know. Some interesting stuff, I think, right? I thought that was interesting. Belly up. Belly up to the bar. Yeah, there's lots of weird theories out there. I bumped into so many things through the years of just diving into the weirdness. And a lot of it is almost just trivial little bits and pieces. But it's interesting that it does become relevant as you dive more and more into these weirdness, that some of these theories actually aren't so preposterous when you start looking into the big questions about what's been going on or what people think may have happened. So, all right, that was the news. And now we're going to get to an article that I promised you when we started this journey tonight. And by God, I'm a man of my word. And so with that, I hope you guys are doing good, by the way. Everybody doing great tonight? Maybe we should do some shout outs. You guys want some shout outs? If you want a shout out, you got to type something in the chat. Otherwise, I just won't know you're here, because YouTube only gives me a participants list. And by participant, it means not only here, but actively typing stuff. So if you want something shouted out, type stuff, and I will pull open the list right now and see who's here, because there's quite a few of you here. Glad to have you all here with me, because by God, otherwise I'd be lonely. But not a lot of you are talking, but that's okay. You don't have to. It's not a prerequisite for being present. But so far, I've got audio here. I've got Batman here. I've got Flyer Tuck. He's here. Grumpy Owl's here. Good to see you, Grumpy Owl. John LaBella. Great to see you. John Stevenson. Excellent. Jordan Cogburn's here. Just Info Arsonist is here. Good to see you guys. Maggie M10. More of this, more of that. Someone else wants shout outs too. I don't know what your name is. Give me your name in the ghost chat there, and I'll give you a shout out too. RJ Windwalker's here. Rachel Gets It Right is here. Ron the Sage is here, and Wizard Moon. Someone just came in. DI or DL? Well, good to see you, DI or DL. I don't know if that's an I or an L. Looks like an L. DL. Okay. Welcome. Great to have you here. That's a new name, so you get the new name award tonight, which is this. I just made it up now. That's the new name award. Yeah, it's a round of applause. Thank you for coming. Check out the show. Hope you guys hope you like it, and we'll keep going and diving into more of this fun weirdness that we call the paranormal. All right, so the stories that I'm going to bring to you now are coming from, did I miss anybody? Anybody else? DL? DL. Oh, okay, DL. All right, just want to make sure. DL. That's what I thought. It looked like an L, so I was right there. Just blew my mind around the stage. What is Ron blowing minds? What's going on? What if Bigfoot is the native species and we're the aliens? Yeah, that's what. That's a great idea. Of course, with the whole Anunnaki potentially creating human Homo sapiens, they maybe use them. What was the guy's name? Lloyd Pye. The guy's name is Lloyd Pye, and there's a talk online. It's called "Everything You Know Is Wrong." And it's old now, but I'm sure you could still find it. But fascinating talk. And he talks about why is there a missing link? Well, it's hard to make the jump from the fossil evidence of the first hominids and hominoids to us. But he suggests that maybe those are Bigfoot's ancestors. We found its lineage, but there's no lineage of ours to find because what if we were manufactured? And he talks about some of the genetics in there and why there's some alleged impossibilities dealing with chromosome fusing and stuff in the genetic lines. It's just fascinating. Really, really interesting. So, could be. What if we, all these pre-humans are actually pre-Bigfoots and became the different, like the various different forms of Bigfoot, whether it's 3-toed or 5-toed or whatever. And Momo, the big hairy ones, and the more ape-looking ones. Maybe those are all pre-humans that became what we understand today as like Bigfoot, and we're the anomaly. We were created allegedly by, I think it's the whole Sumerian epoch to farm gold for the Anunnaki, so they could save their planet or something. I don't know what the hell is going on there, but they apparently Anunnaki had trouble and they didn't much feel like digging up their own gold, so they maybe made us, and we became the slave species. But who knows? All right, but this article I want to get into now, without spiderweb and even more, is coming from Thought Catalog. Thought Catalog. How do you know I'm not a Bigfoot cloaking as a Jordan? I don't know that, Jordan. I do not know that. In fact, I wouldn't put it past you personally. You could be. All right, this is the article. It is, not this one, this one. Thought Catalog, 33 paranormal stories even skeptics are going to freak out over. I kind of read that weird, didn't I? Freak out over. What the hell happened? Something happened to my tongue right there. This is what you came to enjoy, folks. This is the kind of entertainment I give all night long. 33 paranormal stories even skeptics are going to freak out over. These paranormal stories, again, this is a Reddit scrape, so, but they say they'll make you believe in ghosts. Maybe they will. This is just by Thought Catalog. I can't attribute it to, it says Peter Hershey. Looks like Peter Hershey was the photographer that made that image. So I don't know who to attribute the article to, but it's from Thought Catalog. So, but we're going to read through some of these. I don't know how far we'll get. We'll go a little bit. Brent went Canadian. Freak out. Yeah, a boot. I'm about to lose my mind. Yeah. I'm kind of fluent. I'm from Minnesota, so it's like Canada light, There's not a lot of difference between Canada and Minnesota in a lot of ways. We're very Canadian-ish. Not completely Canadian, but Canadian-like. Here's the first one in the stories of 33 stories. And the first one is, long story short, multiple people who are not friends with one another have been in my house and seen a woman in a blue dress. And they even told me about it later. I don't tell anyone else about it, not even my husband, because it doesn't bother anything. No big deal, right? Anywho, I myself have seen her twice. The first time I woke up in the middle of the night and saw her leaning over my baby's crib. Oh, that's as long as the baby's good. Okay. I immediately sat up and she just faded away. I felt crazy because I didn't know anybody else had seen her at that time. The next day I went to Walmart and some lady walks by me and says, "She likes the baby." I stop and ask what she said, and she's, "The woman in your house. She likes the baby." Low-key peed my pants and ran home. It's kind of like running into a Deb Varner, and someone's that in tune that they can just pull that stuff out. It's like, wow. I'm very, very envious of people that have that ability to see that much and to be able to give that much information. That's so cool. It's almost like I don't know, unnerving maybe even, but I think it's sweet. She came up and kind of answered the question. So no harm, no foul. It's just another loving soul in the house. Why not? Just leave it alone. No reason to freak out about that. No, what the hell did they do it in pages for? They didn't do that, did they? Yeah, they did. All right, I'm going to have to do a lot of pages. Number 2, when I was a little kid, my father used to take me and my 2 sisters to a railway museum in the city. We loved it, but he suddenly stopped talking to us. Years later, I was told why. Every single time that my father took photos of us, a strange face appeared above my little sister, and so he got scared and never brought us there again. Yeah, that'll take the fun right out of it in a hurry, won't it? Is this one going to do more pages? Yeah, we're going to do more pages. All right. Number 3, first night in my first apartment. I didn't have a bed, so I slept on the couch in the living room. Had a nightmare that someone with a knife was going down the hallway, and just as they got to the living room door, I woke up. How did I do that? I don't even know how I did that. I woke up. I jumped in my car and spent one more night at my parents'. 2 months later, my roommate falls asleep on the same couch. Next morning, he tells me about a dream he had about a guy coming down the hall with a knife. Just as he got to the door, my roommate woke up. A few months later, a friend asks if he can crash for a night. Sure, he can sleep on the couch. You wonder if they knew. Did they know when they set him up to do that? Yeah, just go sleep on the couch. It'll be great. Next morning, he says he had a weird dream. I said, guy coming down the hall with a knife. My roommate added, you woke up just as he got to the door. The dude went the palest shade of white I've ever seen. Yeah, that's crazy. I wonder what that is. Would that be like a psychic imprint that's just in that area, and maybe you get receptive when you're sleeping? Like an impression that was of some past event? I mean, that's horrible. Just think of that. What might have happened in your house? Ooh, that'll get you creeped out. Number 4, when I was 6 or 7, I was going to the bathroom, not bothering to close the door because no one else was home. My parents' room was directly across a narrow hallway from the bathroom, with their door being pretty close to being entirely open, with only clothes keeping it pushed slightly outward. From where I was, I could see the foot of my parents' bed, the wall on the left side of their bed, and the wall which the door was against, being nearly full open, if that makes sense. Sitting silently, I see a black dress, no figure inside, rise up from behind the left side of my parents' bed, proceed to float out to the front of the foot of the bed, appearing to float directly towards me, and float behind my parents' bedroom door, completely silent. No body, no legs, feet, nothing, just a black dress. It floated not slowly, but not too quickly, like it didn't even know I was there, and it just casually floating through the house. Well, I was freaked out. I finished my business and quickly jumped across the hall and slammed the door the other way, screaming out of fear and an attempt at being threatening. But nothing was there besides my mom's robes and pajamas. Since then, I was sure to close the door every time I went to the bathroom, and only recently have I begun going with the bathroom door open if no one else is home. And nearly every time I do, the thought of that goes through my head. Yeah, you won't forget that anytime soon. That's like a mental tattoo. Good God. Number five. Yeah. Yep. We're on number 5. I've been saved from death 8 times by a spirit guy wearing a bowler hat. Well, that's a hell of a good guide right there. Wow. Each time has been different, but I'm not the only one that has seen him. He has woken up my father and told him to check the garage. My father found me seizing and choking. I also fell asleep while driving, and he turned the car sharply before he went off into a river. What? Found me seizing and choking. Also, I fell asleep while driving. He turned the car sharply before we went off into the river. Wow. That's only 2 times though, right? He says 8 times. They still owe us 6 more. Anyway, that's all he's given us. So we'll go to the next one. Number 6. When I was around 11 years old, I heard scissors snipping from my parents' bathroom, which was next to my bedroom. Well, this happened every night from around 1 until 1:30. After about 3 months, it stopped. And the dream I had that night was about a witch looking thing dragging its nails against my back. And the next morning, my back was covered in scabs that looked like someone had scratched my back. Ooh, well, that's horrible. Yeah, you might want to do some cleansing there. Just get it the hell out. That's creepy. What? Why? Yeah, that's horrible. All right, page number 4, number 7. I went on a late night history tour of an Old West prison, supposedly haunted, and felt someone touch me on the shoulder. Looked behind me at the cell door, and others on the tour turned back around. I distinctly feel 3 fingers touching my shoulder. I then felt a presence behind me, kind of like the kind you get when you walk past mannequins at clothes stores. But there was no one there inside the cell. And this all went within moments. The tour guide told me it's the friendly cell. No one else on the tour experienced anything. Well, I guess, it makes you wonder, why do they linger? Why do they linger there? Because that doesn't feel residual. That feels, it's very actively interacting with a touch in this case, but it is interacting with somebody there. So residual would be like, you hear these footsteps pacing back and forth in the cell. It doesn't matter what happens. It just happens. Tell it to stop. Nothing happens. It just keeps going until it gets done. Just seems like somebody's playing a recording over and over and over. So that's a residual. It's just an imprint. It's not actively aware. It's just some events that keeps playing over for whatever reason. And, when it's interacting with a person, it's targeting someone, it's touching someone, it's, aware that there's someone there to touch, then that's an actual intelligent presence. But why do they linger? What is it there? Is it truly the old inmate, or is it just something that likes the quiet, cold place that it is? I don't know. But it's creepy stuff. All right, let's go to the next one, number 8. I was babysitting my ex's niece when I was still with him at their family home. His sister went out with friends that night, and my ex was working, so I was alone with the baby and my ex's youngest sister, who is only two or so years younger than me. Well, they lived out in the city on a dirt road, so they had a bunch of land. Their kitchen had a large, beautiful windows that almost went from floor to ceiling, and you could see over the land where the horses were and some plains and stuff. Well, during the day, it was very serene looking out the window because there was no neighbors, nothing you could see more miles, nothing you could see more miles except serene tranquility. Well, this setting changed at night. I was completely terrified of what all this vast nothingness looked like during the dark. I couldn't see anything out there, but something could look in, and it could see me. I distinctly remember getting a chill up my spine once the sun had set and shutting the curtains end to end that night. I was babysitting, and once it got later in the evening and I was failing miserably at playing Morrowind on a terrible $300 ThinkPad laptop, I was not smart. I went to the kitchen to get a drink because it was time to take my meds. As soon as I stepped into the kitchen, I saw the curtains were wide open. Not just a little bit, but end to end open. I've got ADHD, but I would not have left those curtains open because their property genuinely scared the hell out of me at night. The baby was asleep and my ex's sister didn't leave my sight all night either, so no one could have opened those curtains. It haunts me, dude. I think about it and I get all woozy. I try to be rational, but I just can't explain it. Someone didn't want you shutting the blinds. That's got to be unnerving. That's, I don't know. I've ever experienced something like that, but I'm trying to remember anything that might be similar to that, but I really don't think I have. I've not experienced something undoing what I just did. But I think it would probably, piss you off, but it would also be a little bit humbling because it's like, whoa, they don't want those closed. But I don't know. It's hard to know. I mean, these things are out there. What do they want? Any number of reasons, I guess. Number 9, I actually have a bunch of weird paranormal stories, but there's one that really creeps me out more than the others. I was about 15, sleeping over at my friend's mom's house. She lived in a duplex that the family lived in for 40 plus years. She had a couple of cousins over that weekend, so I didn't think of it when I saw a small blonde boy in a striped tee come around the corner and peek in the living room we were hanging out in. My friend asked me who I waved to, and I just said, it's one of your little cousins. The next morning, we went to the other side of the duplex where the grandparents lived, and I saw a picture on the wall of the little blonde boy with the striped t-shirt on, with "In Memory of" written on it. I got a chill and asked her who it was, and she said, oh, that's my uncle. He got hit by a car right outside the house when he was 7. In the 80s. Why? I told her that's the exact little boy I saw outside your room last night, and she just responded with, yeah, he likes to say hi to the family sometimes. So, that's sweet. Again, I'm usually skeptical when it comes to children's spirits because it's hard to believe that anything good and just would leave these beautiful little souls to linger. But then there's stories like this. Well, the family was still there. Sorry, I nearly choked. Now I'm all watery. But when the little boy's there, of course he's there. The family's still there. So that's makes more sense to me. And I honestly don't know how it works. Like, is there a window of time? Like you got so much time to get in that tunnel of lights. And if you don't go, then you're stuck. I don't know how that works, if that's the case or not. Sorry about that. I don't like choking. Not a big fan of it. I go better. I love you all, fellow Portillians. I love you too, David. Good to see you, brother. Thanks for stopping in as I cough up a hairball over here. I think I'm okay now. Jeez. All right. Number 10. We're on number 10. I'm convinced the house I lived in during my freshman year of college was haunted. I also swear that all of this is 100% true. I don't talk about it because it sounds ridiculous, but it did happen, and I can't explain it. The house was 120 years old. My room had a door to the attic, and I kept locked. I had 4 other roommates who all swore they weren't screwing with me. I was laying in bed one day and I heard a super loud crash behind the door of the attic. I grabbed my big male roommate and we opened the door together. At the bottom of the steps, there were 6 awkwardly shallow steps leading to a bunch of that pink foam stuff that of your typical attic. There was an old painting of some lady. We were creeped the hell out. No one ever seen the painting before, let alone gone into the creepy attic. We put the painting in the corner of the attic where it could not fall and didn't think about it again. A few months later, I heard the same loud crash. I figured I dreamed or imagined it. Again, I opened the door and found the painting sitting there. This time I moved the painting into the basement. There were some shelves and I just threw it in the back on the top shelf. A couple of months went by. Yet again, late one night, I heard the crash from behind the attic door, and I thought to myself, no way. Grabbed my roommate again and opened the door, and there it was. That damn painting was sitting at the bottom of the steps again. I don't understand how I kept the door to my room locked, as well as the door to the attic. My roommate couldn't have gotten in there to play a prank. I just truly don't understand it. After the third time, we took the painting out to the fire pit and burned it, and thankfully, all the creepy stuff stopped there. I moved the hell out of that house as soon as the lease was up. I can't explain what happened. I just know it was creepy as hell, and you could not convince me to go back there. Yeah, I think that's a safe bet. Stay out. Do not pass go. All right, we'll do one more page, and then we'll go on to the cryptids, because we got to talk about some creatures tonight, folks. There's a few really cool ones from Phantoms and Monsters tonight, too, that I think should be fun to read through. Some interesting stuff. Are they actually cryptids? Maybe not. They might be more extraterrestrial-ish, but we'll talk about it. Number 11, one time when I was 9, I tripped down the stairs and was about to hit my head on the ground head first, but then I was just standing at the bottom of the steps like I just walked down. Still confused to this day. Wow, that's pretty awesome. I think if you can have a haunting that does that, that's a great haunting. Like, oh no, I got you. Caught you. Number 12, 3 times in my life, I saw everything around me freeze all at once, but only for a half a second each time. It's weird. By the third time, I knew I wasn't seeing things. I just knew something was up. What do you make of that? How does this person experience time freezing? Paranormal Portal, you can do an episode this Saturday with cat balls and voice box, all that. I think most of us enjoy that, but it's up to you and the community. Yeah, if you guys want to see that on Saturday, I can certainly do that again. We can set up the yes, no as well and see if we get some kind of interaction with that. Again, the REM pod never really does something when I've set it up here, and neither does the yes, no when I set it up last time didn't really do anything either. But if you guys are up for it, let me know. Type 1 in chat if you want to see that on Saturday night. We can do it. I mean, we've caught some excellent evidence right here in the studio, which is really blew me away. Maggie says yes. Wizard says 1. Okay. Yeah, 1 in chat if you want it. Batman, yes. Okay. Well, several of you do. Okay. Oi, 1 yes. Okay. All right. Well, consider this Saturday then Investigation Saturday. It's good for me, honestly, because, I don't have to farm up a bunch of stuff to do. We can just kind of kick back and see what we find. Yeah. All right. Okay, we'll do it. Just info, yes. Okay. It's fun and cool and it's interesting. Yeah, and I enjoy it too because it's like doing an investigation with all of you all. It's the one way I can bring you with to do an investigation. Like I was able to stream at St. Ignatius, which was really cool. I loved walking you guys around that place and showing you the whole area and stuff. And it was a fun live stream, even though there wasn't like a lot of stuff going on. But it was just to show you how absolutely creepy that place was. But in a cool way. I mean, it wasn't dark. It wasn't horrible. It was just like a living history. It's just phenomenal. So this is an opportunity to actually show you evidence. Again, if you're new to the show, my hand to God and on the life of everything I love, I will never fabricate any evidence that you see on the show. I would never do it. My integrity is far more important than getting clicks. I'm not gonna stage things just to, maybe get something to take off. If it happens, it happens. But you can rest assured, if you see it happen on the show, it is really happening. It's not something I've staged or set up. And I give you my vow that is the truth. So I just am not interested. Because I get pissed when I find out there's something's been hoaxed, especially if it's something I was really interested in. Like, wow, that really happened. Wow. And then you find out later it's a hoax. It's like, oh, you bastard. I don't like that people take advantage of people's desire to see these fantastic things. So if it happens here, you'll know it's real. I can't speak for everywhere else, but I promise you, if you see interactions and things going off, it's in real time. I'm not staging anything. So anyway, we'll do that on Saturday then. Okay. Thank you for the suggestion. I appreciate it. And it's fun for me. I enjoy doing it. I just don't want to bore you guys with the same tests over and over and over and over. So the fact that you like it is really cool. That's fun because I enjoy it as well. So, all right. Number 13, we're spending the night at my girlfriend, now wife, and then a few months into our relationship dorm, as we usually did, alternating between her building and mine. Suddenly, in the middle of the night, about 3 a.m., we both woke up at the same time for no apparent reason, both feeling really unsettled and scared even. Both of us somehow had a very distinct feeling of there being someone else in the room, even though we can clearly see there's no one there, as it's a single room, only 16 meters squared or 170 square feet big. So we calm each other down and go back to bed. When we wake up in the morning, one picture on our fridge is now hanging upside down. More specifically, the only one containing an image of the two of us together. The weird thing is that the magnet is still on the bottom side of the picture, so it can't have been gravity. And the picture is still in the exact same spot amidst all the other pictures. A few days later, we found out that a girl who lived in her room more than a decade before took herself out after a breakup with her boyfriend. Aw, what a heartbreaker. So sorry to hear that. When I think of this logically, it sounds like a silly story, but we both still very vividly remember this. It was scary as hell, even though we've been together for 12 plus years. That is absolutely frightening. Number 14, long story short, we knew we had a ghost kid at the house after a few drinks. I decided to taunt him by laying a beer bottle on its side and saying, "Timmy, if you're really here, spin the bottle." A few seconds go by and nothing happens. And then every door in the house slammed open. The front door had a deadbolt on. Yeah, you don't taunt no Timmys. You don't do that, no Timmy. That's creepy. That is really bizarre. Whatever Timmy is probably not a kid. Timmy's something a little more potent than a kid. So, that's creepy. All right, so we'll continue this on Friday's show with Sheldon when he's here. But I do want to get to some cryptids because we love us our cryptids up here at the portal. Let me just tell you. All right, I hope my impressions don't ever offend anybody. It's not my intention to be disrespectful. So if I ever do impressions, just know that it's just me having fun. It's certainly not meant to degrade any people or whatever. All right. That one pissed me off, Birdie. Whoa. What's going on? That one pissed me off too, Birdie Cuda. In fact, I lost all respect for that guy. Yeah, hoaxing is just ridiculous. And he tries to play it off like, no, it's like a thought experiment. It's like, no, you just got busted. You got busted, you got caught up, and you had to come clean. But you don't act like it was a plan. Like, we were going to just see, Yeah, what a bunch of crap. He lost all my respect in that one move because it was also like kind of making fun of the whole, I don't know if he was playing it off like it's a ridiculous thing or not, but it just kind of felt like, you know what? You picked something that obviously a lot of people are passionate about. You acted as if you had this incredible evidence, smuggled it even across the border where it wouldn't get taken by customs. And then, it was a reproduction that you drilled a hole in the side of to make it look like a gunshot wound. Yeah, you're a dick. So I don't know the guy, but my take on it was horrible. That was terrible. So I was not impressed with that at all. All right, so we're going to head first to my good friend, Mr. Wes Germer's Sasquatch Chronicles blog and visit some of his listener emails that he's gotten. And one of them is very long. Oh, man, this is quite long indeed. I think this one is a revisiting, though. Yeah, so this is... Okay. Yeah, this one's going to be good. This is one I pulled up, and I was like, ooh, this looks good. Well, here it is, without belaying it any longer. October 25th from Sasquatch Chronicles blog. Ladies and gentlemen, a gigantic creature crossing the road. A listener writes, I live in southern Utah. I've lived here for about 2 years now. Previously, I lived in the central part of the state, and let me start with my encounters as they took place in order. Well, first, a bit about myself. I'm a father of 6 children and 3 grandchildren. 3 of my children are paternal, and the others are step. In total, I have 5 boys and 1 girl, ages 32 to 21. I'm married, and I've been a coal miner for most of my career. My very first encounter happened when I was a small boy. I was traveling to Logan, Utah with my parents. My eldest half-sister was getting married there. I guess I was about 7 or 8 at the time. So it would have been about the summer of 1978 or 79. It happened very fast. I was peering out of my window in an old yellow 1972 Chevy Blazer. My father had recently gone through an open heart surgery, so he was sitting shotgun and my mother was driving. As we were ascending up Logan Canyon in northern Utah, my mother slams on the brakes. As I heard my dad saying, "What the hell is it?" My mother throws the Blazer in park and nervously exclaims, "It's a freaking Bigfoot, Lester." Lester? "What the hell do you think it is?" As I'm grabbing hold of the 2 seats in the front, lifting myself to see what they're talking about, I rose up looking through the windshield, and there's a gigantic creature crossing the road to the north. It seemed to turn its head about towards us slightly. With a somewhat evil look, I noticed an oncoming car skid to a stop, and the creature kicked it into high gear. I guess it took 2 or 3 steps while crossing the road. Then, as it moves up the other side of the hill, it was going faster than a deer could. It traversed once, and then it was gone. It stood up the whole time, never dropping down on all fours, and I remember my mom giving my father some nitroglycerin before we drove off. Later in life, I learned that the nitroglycerin was for his heart. Yeah. He passed away when I was 15. My Uncle Bob and Aunt Marcia were behind us in the Subaru with my siblings, and I remember them talking about the encounter when we arrived at the wedding. I was very small at the time, so forgive me for a short story, but that's what I remember. The next 2 encounters I'll put together because they happened only a couple miles from each other. I'm an avid hunter and an outdoorsman. On a general season rifle elk hunt in Gooseberry, Utah, near Fish Lake, Utah. Keep this in mind. In 2013, I was riding my ATV off of the Neosho Trail near the bottom where I had my truck parked. I heard a howl. It seemed just tens of yards off the trail. My cat just rubbed my legs and scared the hell out of me. Sorry, back to the story. Oh, okay, gotcha. He was actually, as he's typing it, his cat rubbed his legs. Got it. Back to the story. Anyway, you have to cross a little creek before you arrive at the trailhead. I stopped at the creek and listened for a second to see if I could hear anything. All along, I'm thinking to myself, there are wolves in Utah after all. I lit a cigarette, and about that time, I'm putting them back into the pockets. I hear the loudest howl I've ever heard. Long and low, pitched. I said to myself, that's no wolf, and started grabbing gears towards my truck. When arriving at my truck, I heard several more howls as I was loading my ATV. Bewildered from the noise I heard, I told my wife about it when I'd gotten home, and she said, I've always felt creeped out going through that part of the trail. The other part of this story happened at Brown's Hole in Gooseberry, Utah, literally 1.5 miles or 2 miles from where I heard this godforsaken howl. My daughter, me, her boyfriend, and my 2 sons were elk hunting in the same area, But we were camping this time, and we just got back from the morning hunts, with no success for the day. We were tired and needed a shower. We all decided to run down to town and take a shower, and after showering, we road hunted. Okay, so this driving along looking, okay. We road hunted back up to our camp. When arriving at our camp, we seen that something was out of place. We drove up to the trailer and we noticed our awning had literally been torn halfway off of our trailer and was laying on top of it. It's a 21-foot trailer, so the awning is 20 feet long and takes 2 people to carry. When it's rolled up, and I chalked it up to the wind, but I knew that the wind could not have done that. And we were in a bowl. Later that night, as we're sitting inside the trailer playing cards, we heard the most god-awful scream just up the ridge from our trailer. It was about midnight, and sure, there were other elk hunters around, but this sounded like a woman being attacked. I shined my spotlight up there because it really sounded like a woman in extreme distress, but we couldn't see anything. It sounded like she was being beaten or something. And the next morning around 5 a.m., we rose to go hunting, and the surrounding was as still as could be. The previous mornings, we would step out of the trailer with my flashlight and flash it around, and there would be a couple of jackrabbits and occasional doe near our trailer running about. And this morning, it was absolutely dead silent. And that's not the end of this encounter. Just last week, my family and I took a little vacation to Fish Lake, Utah, and it's the largest natural lake in Utah, and the lake spans a distance of 6 miles southwest to northeast, and it is 1 mile across at its widest point. It's an ancient volcano, so it's relatively deep. The cabin that we stayed in was small, 2-room cabin with 2 full-size beds, and it did have running water and lights, shower, etc. On Thursday night, my daughter and her boyfriend went fishing down on the bank of the lake, and while they were fishing, they encountered a light flying over them at a pretty fast rate of speed. They said that the weird thing was, it was zigzagging back and forth while traveling in a straight line. It kind of creeped them out, they said. The next morning, we were going up to check out and head back home. After one last-ditch effort to fishing on the boat, the fishing hadn't been that great over the entire week we stayed there, so we got up at about 4:30 a.m. and had some coffee. We got ready to go down to the boat and head out on the lake, and it seemed to be a very normal morning at first. While arriving at the lake, as my headlights scanned across it, it had some foggy patches on the water. We walked down to our boats from where we had parked the truck. I wiped down the dew that had collected on the boat and fired it up. I turned on my fish finder and loaded my daughter and her boyfriend into the boat, then continued to untie the ropes holding the boat to the dock, and it was still and very dark. I was lighting my way with a headband-style flashlight. After untying the boat, I realized that my navigation light wasn't working on the front of the boat, so I started to tap on it. My daughter said it was working last night because I watched you and Mom coming in. Anyway, I pushed us off and jumped in. And while pulling out of the marina, I noticed a bright light that looked like just above the mountain to our northwest, and it seemed to be moving towards us. I told the others, you guys check that light up in the mountain, and we all agreed it couldn't be a plane or a satellite because it was way too close to the mountaintop and way too bright. We anticipated it coming overhead because of its trajectory, so we started out of the marina, and I noticed that my depth finder wasn't working. My daughter was like, "What's wrong, Dad?" I told her that I couldn't understand why my depth finder wasn't working. It had been all week until now. It's pretty important to know your depth while trolling for lake trout. So I kind of sped up a little, hoping that it would reset because I knew that we had to be 50 to 70 feet of water because I'd been trolling this area for 4 days. It was reading like 17 feet maximum. I slowed down and put my backlight on, which plugs into the back of the boat, and it seemed to be working fine. It's important to note that my depth finder was working fine now too, so we began trolling at 2 miles per hour. Then I told the kids to start letting out line at that
At that time, I realized that the light that we were looking at was gone. We're all like, well, that's weird. While the kids were letting out line, I was looking forward to the southwest, keeping us in a straight line to put us into the Mac run. And all of a sudden, I see a camper's light straight in front of us go out. And the light that we had seen up on the mountain appeared right in front of us, coming at an extreme rate of speed. Now, I'm the only one that can see it because I'm driving the boat and the kids are turned backwards fishing. I say to the kids, look at that light, you guys. It was traveling extremely fast, and it dipped down into the water almost as if it had a heading or its coordinates were automatically set. As it passed us, the kids saw it, and the light got very bright while going by us. My daughter said she could see a small beam of light facing forward, so it must have spotted us while going past us. To me, it seems to have kind of translucent body following it, egg or tic-tac shaped. My best guess is that we were within a half mile from it, and as it passed us, it didn't make a sound. You could kind of hear a bit of a wisp of water while it was going by, and that's it. It continued in a straight trajectory, what looked like just inches from the water, over the full length of the lake, and then it just went out of sight. I assumed it kept going up into the canyon because we never seen it go up into the air. It was quite eerie. We were all dumbfounded. Now we're all saying, what the hell was that? I feel like it was definitely extraterrestrial because it was way too fast, and it didn't make a sound. At other times, we could hear the boats going across the water from our cabin 3 times the distance away. And as we got up to the lake a little way further, there was a sailboat anchored off a lodge about 100 feet from shore, but whoever was on that boat was definitely asleep. There were no lights on it, no movement. My best guess is that the craft was fueling on the water, like maybe it runs off of hydrogen or something. To give you an idea how fast this happened, the lake is 6 miles long and 1 mile across, and it took approximately 6 seconds to cover the entire length of the lake. By my calculation, that adds up to 3,600 feet per second, and that's faster than a .22-250 bullet. Yeah, that's moving. Crazy. So a whole host of different experiences. Howling, something tearing the awning down, the screams, and then the lights. Sounds like that's a hell of a vacation. Yikes. Creepy. All right, that's the first story from Sasquatch Chronicles blog. The next one is from October 25th. This is an upcoming show, so if it may, well, this is from the 25th. What is it now? The 25th. It's from today, so it's going to be a show. Maybe this weekend Wes will release it. Things have gotten worse since we last spoke. Jason writes, I was on episode 553, The Hairy Neanderthal Man, and this is the original post. I've seen these creatures hunting over the past 10 years. I bought this property several years ago. It had a nice cabin on it, and I would hunt the land. All of these sightings started on the property around 2007 and lasted till 2017. I brushed it off as people or bears until I saw them. I was in shock. Several times they took my deer kills. One time I saw what I thought was the biggest bear I've ever seen come down the river for a drink. It put its hands out and started drinking the water like a man. It looked at me, and I looked at it, and it looked like a hairy Neanderthal man. We just looked at each other, and then it stood up and walked off. I have no clue what is going on. I haven't been back to the property since 2017. I'm going back this weekend. I wouldn't say I feel threatened. I'm more unnerved. I've had some strange paranormal incidents as well. I do not know if they are related or not. A lot has happened since I was on the show. This strange stuff has been going on my property. Everything from these strange lights to shadows appearing. I've captured some of this on video. We witnessed a strange ball of light open the gates. We found this behind the home. I'm not sure what it is or who made it. That's pretty crazy. Wow. What is is this the light or what are we looking at here? I'm not sure. It's I mean, it's a car parked. I can see that, but I'm just not sure what the anomaly is on this one. This is definitely a structure. It's not unlike the one I found in Minnesota years and years and years ago, near where I was growled at, but it's taller. The one I saw was much shorter. So Wes says, I've invited Jason back to the show to give us an update. Here's a small clip of what Jason sent me. Okay, well, this is from Wes's site, so being as Wes is our wonderful friend, let's have a listen. Oh, that's the light. Okay, I want to see that again. Ooh, that is creepy. I want to make it big. Let's start it over. Oh, yeah. That's not your everyday ball of light, that's for sure. Looks like it's coming right over the porch roof there. You can even catch some of the light from it playing on the roof of that of the overhang there. Yeah. It seems to at least have illuminated some of it. Here's another one. Oh. Well, that's them, I think, right? Okay. I don't know what was the last part there? I don't understand. What is this? Oh, wait. That's weird. Do you see that? There's like a shadow walking up on that person. Boom. Okay, I'm going to try to pause it here if I can. See if we can go frame by frame. If this will work. It didn't work very well last time. Yeah, see the shadow at the end of the driveway? Coming a little closer. It's right about here now. It was here. It's right about here. There's a faint shadow. Seems to be moving up the driveway. Coming closer. It's here now. Just to help you see what I'm seeing. Closer. There it is. You can almost make out a leg here and a leg here now. There's like a lighter gap in the middle, like it's taking a stride. There it's more upright, standing right at that hook thing. Was a plant holder or something, I guess. And then it's right on that person. I don't know. It could be in the yard, and it just appears to be on the the driveway, but it might not be. I'm just going more rapidly now. So the person's coming around the edge, and I don't see any other shadow play there. Nothing really sticking out, but that was something definitely coming up the driveway. Looks, well, at least you can see it on the driveway. It could be more in the grassy area down here, walking, and it just is tall enough that it appears to be on here, but it's yeah, there's definitely a figure for sure. Wow. That's pretty amazing. So it'll be interesting. Can you move the video left? Yeah, I can try. Let's do this. Well, if it's big, is that what you mean? Is that not working? You can see that, right? If it's okay, I can go check it online. Well, I'm just seeing your pick is covering it. It's nothing. Oh, I see what you're saying. Let me move me here and we'll start over. Go ahead. We'll just play it in real time this time because you saw the shadow. You see that going over the roof line there? Playing again. Boom. Yeah, you're right. My picture was in the way. Sorry about that. Yep. And then there's that shadow thing going up the sidewalk, which is all kinds of creepy, folks. And then the lights go out. Done. So I think it's pretty interesting. That's a wild property for sure. That was a huge light. Yeah, you're right. It's about this. I mean, looked like about basketball size, just rough guesstimate. Yeah, of course. Glad to help. I'm sorry. I wasn't really cognition of where my camera was left on that one, but I'm going to move it back over now just so that it's cleared. And I'll have to try to remember if there's something I'm showing you guys online to move my big melon out of the way. All right, what time we got here? Because 8:30. Yeah, I want to get to Phantoms and Monsters now. There's one more from Wes's that we'll cover, but we'll probably cover it on Friday, along with any other new arrivals that he has. But this is a strange encounter at my window. Looks like it has to do with a little alien, perhaps, but we'll deal with that one. I guess it's very small. Let's just do it now. October 24th, strange encounter at my window. A listener writes, I was taking a shower at late evening. It was dark and I see something move right outside of my window. Well, as I look a little closer, he starts looking at me closer. And as soon as I know it, I'm face to face, 5 inches away from its face. And the only thing in between us is the glass window. I got 15 seconds of looking at it, and I think I got a good look at it. It had 7-inch eyes. They were black, and his skull was big and elongated in the back. This was in Riverside, California. It was scared. It looked like I was scared. It looked like it wanted to kill me. I screamed for my brother, told him there was an alien outside, and it slowly turned and kept walking very slowly, very crouched. The crazy thing about it was its shoulders were 3.5 feet wide. So like 3.5 feet wide. As he was walking slowly, it looked like he was gliding and then acted like he was minding his own business, very skinny, and his feet were big. Huh. That's got to be horrifying. It's not what you like to see out your window after you're showering, especially. I'm just saying, showers make everything feel a lot more creepy. So that'll wrap it up for Sasquatch Chronicles blog tonight. And then I want to get to... This is an interesting one. Let's see, which one is it? Yeah, this is the one. Okay, so we're going to head over to Phantoms and Monsters for this segment of the Cryptid Corner. And again, Lon does a phenomenal job as well and has thousands of stories over there that you want to check out. I don't know if it's actually thousands, but he's got a ton of encounter stories over there that are documenting people's experiences with different various Fortean and paranormal anomalies. So definitely check it out. You can find links to Lon's books as well as information on how to find his podcast, which is Phantoms and Monsters Radio. And check out his YouTube as well. That's pretty much the home base for his podcast. So get subscribed and keep up with Lon over there. And of course, this week's podcast episode, both I'm going to be releasing part 2 tonight to be for tomorrow's early release. But this is our interview from when Lon was on the show last time. Had a great talk with him, and Lon is incredibly interesting and has a lot of great thoughts on this strangeness that we love. So definitely check it out. If you missed the YouTube presentation, you can sure go back and watch it. But if you're on the road and running around, you can go to any of the major platforms, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, CastBox, Stitcher, Pandora, and find the Paranormal Portal there and start listening to the podcast if you don't already. Now, they are posted also on YouTube in a playlist called podcasts, or podcast episodes, something like that. But you'll know when you see it. It's there. But this is a video from Phantoms and Monsters, and this one's Alaska store worker conversing with an unseen entity. These I find fascinating because it's an incredible situation where people are very actively conversing, talking with someone that for everyone else is just not there. Like there's a lot of these security cameras catching people just talking, having animated conversations with a wall. They'd be like, calling on the radio. Who are you talking to? Oh, it's this old lady came in and is wondering about blah, blah, blah. There's no one there talking to you on the camera. There's nothing. And then the person's like, looking back and the person's gone. They're like, yeah, and they, bolt. Well, yeah, that would be pretty unnerving. I would think it would be a pretty incredible experience though. It's just too bad you wouldn't have the foresight to know that they weren't actually there, because if you could actually have a dialogue with somebody that's obviously a spirit, that would be so incredible. It's like, what is your version of reality like? What is it you experience? I just have a million questions. Yeah, very cool. I was thinking, wouldn't it be something if you were able to, like, this just occurred to me today. How cool would this be? So, like on the podcast, for instance, if someone got a hold of me and I was able to verify that they were indeed an alien, but that was living here among us, and how cool would it be to actually interview that person? I mean, keep their identity secret, all that, but just to actually interview them and hear what they have to say. What is their experience? What is their take on this world and what we're doing? And, what do they think? Is there a bigger picture we're missing? I mean, the amazing information that they could possibly share with people and to help us, I think it'd be incredible. But they don't come out of the woodwork, apparently, to talk to me. Anyway, but maybe someone will get the benefit of having a nice discussion with one of our visitors from wherever they're from. And, of course, there's lots of claims out there, but I take those with a grain of salt. It's like, oh, really? You look like a human. What do you mean you're someone else? But that's just me. All right, let's go to this story and find out what's going on. Let me do this. Get rid of that crosshairs that I got on my other screen. Alaska store worker conversing with an unseen entity. Here we go on October 22nd, 2023. Very new. At 11:34 a.m., a Marshall, Alaska store worker named Melanie Rose was loading a freezer when she heard a woman speak to her. She turned and had a conversation with her. When she went into the office, that's when Melanie noticed something odd on the security camera. The woman she was talking to wasn't there. It says on her personal Facebook page, posted this comment along with the security footage from the store's camera, which runs about 49 seconds. Recent but not recent, I thought I was having an actual conversation with a person. She came asking me, where do we get the charge slips? And I told her, I tried to tell her 3 times, but she didn't bother to look. So I decided to show her where. She said she didn't even come to the store in a long time. Ugh, I wouldn't forget it. Let's see. Okay, this is the employee apparently. And this is her having some discussion. The footage seems to show Melanie actually turning and speaking to a person who isn't there. Melanie eventually becomes frustrated by the woman's inability to understand her and then walks toward the office, per her statements, and out of frame. At no point does another person appear in the footage with Melanie, and definitely not in the place where Melanie claims she was standing. The comment section of the clip, no surprise, was filled with people asking about the video and the phantom female that Melanie chatted with. Describing her, Melanie noted she was an elder with a parka. She had a birthmark on her forehead, right side. She was between the Mountain Dew bottle stack and the freezer. I didn't notice she was there till she talked. One skeptical commenter suggested that that was merely an NVR police officer getting off shift, which might make sense if you ignore every aspect of the encounter. Sigh, skeptics. Pamela, this was at 11:30 a.m., Melanie replied. When people ask about what happened when she went out of frame, Melanie said, when I left to go show her the office, I told the office workers she wanted a charge. But when I looked at the cameras, I saw no one. After I noticed there was nobody on camera in the office, I didn't see her again. Doesn't look like we're going to get the video at all, though, does it? No. So what happens if I click this? And it's just going to do that. Okay. That's not what I wanted. I was hoping there would be, maybe it's up here. Maybe this is it. I don't know. We can see. See if her personal Facebook page pops up. Oh, did I get a double? What happened? Oh, no, here it is. Oh, no, don't do that to me. Here it is. Okay, we don't need the engine noise from the... There she is having that discussion. Huh. Oh, she's actually laughing and everything, yeah. Wow. So it looks like the person's right about here by her eyes and her gestures and stuff, and she's trying to load the freezer. Look at that. Wow. She's even making hand gestures out. Got to go over this way, and nobody's there. Huh. That's incredible. There it is. So I think those are fascinating because those people are experiencing something. They are experiencing a presence that nobody else can witness. I don't know if does that make it a psychic thing, or is it just that the camera cannot pick up this person's wavelength of light? I don't know. If she had gone back out, would the woman still have been there? Did she go back out and nobody was there? She said it was just like not there and then not there again. So, but you don't ever see her come into frame. That's the interesting part. It's like she never comes into frame. She's just working, doing her thing. And then suddenly it's like, oh. And then boom, conversation starts. So very interesting. I don't know. I think that's fascinating. But I love these kinds of stories because these are incredible. I don't know who this person is. This is Melanie Rose is her. I can't even like it, I guess. Yeah, I can. I can like it. I think. Nope, it's going to make me log in. I'm going to leave that open because I'm gonna go on my Facebook and visit and giving him a big heart. That's a great footage. And I really think it's cool that she posted it. She's like, hey, check this out. This happened at work, It's not hiding, not pretending nothing happened. Just like, hey, you'll never believe what happened. And voila. So very cool. I appreciate that was, left out there. And that she decided to publish it because that's the cool stuff, guys. Ugh. Going to the microwave hot dog. Now you're making me hungry. I haven't eaten yet, audio. You can't do that, dude. You can't sabotage me with food talk. That is not okay. About poutine in Canada, Quebec. Supposed to have the best. Okay. Rachel, no food talk. I've currently not eaten. I had little nibbles today, but no food. I'm going to be eating after the show, so believe me. I got a big sandwich out there waiting for me. But it's waiting. Okay, here we go. Here's another one. This one's weird. I've never heard this term, planarian worm-like entity. This is more spiritual sounding. Again, is it a cryptid? I don't know. But it's whatever it is, it's weird. So I thought, well, let's all learn together what a planarian worm-like thing is. And I guess this is a sketch of some kind. Close-up of shifting shards. Shifting shards. Not smooth, jagged. Okay, so it's not smooth at all. It's all jagged. Eyes out. Like body. Okay. All right. Well, the eyes are outlined just like the body. Okay. A grocery store patron observes a dark black mask. I guess I had it off screen. Let me put this back up there so you guys can see. That's apparently a planarian worm-like entity. I've never heard this term, so it's brand new. It says mask that is shaped like a planarian worm. I don't know where that's from. What is that reference from? What's a planarian worm? Does anybody know this? This is very unusual. It was attached to a young woman who may have been under the influence of drugs. Oh, okay. So this is more of a psychic vision, if you will. I received the following accounts. Hello, I was at this Korean community grocery store in September 2015, and I went to buy some items, and as I was approaching the counter to pay, I noticed this twitchy small woman, young in her mid-20s, I'm guessing, but she looked like she was in the DTs in need of a fix. It's a shame, really. I thought she would have been pretty if all cleaned up. Well, I still thought she was pretty. She was asking for matches, but she had no money. I made my payment and asked for matches for the lady, and it was just then that the corner of my eye, I saw a darker than dark mask just behind her, but taller. I turned my head and looked directly at it, and it was moving like iron filings. that would shift as you moved a magnet. But not unlike an insect, its eyes were bright like diamond white and angular like a diamond, but on the sides of its head. It was also pointed, and the head and back were not unlike a planarian worm. It's a type of flatworm. Just looked it up. Thank you, Rachel. I figured one of you guys would do that. Thank you. The weird thing is, as I looked down, I saw the lady's arms and legs were wrapped from behind and underneath her appendages, and the thing's body was pressed so close like a piece of clothing or blanket. And that's when it moved, like an insect would, like a twitch. When it moved, so did the lady. Then, as I look at its face just above her head, like someone peering over someone, just not fully, it turned and looked directly at me. Ugh. I have to tell you, I knew enough from experience that you do not show fear and remain calm when all you want to do is scream and point and run, which I really wanted to do. I acted like I was looking through it and looked around, not caring that I'd just seen, and almost ran. The clerk handed her the matches and she thanked me. Then I left. As I left, I was looking straight ahead, but internally I was concentrating behind me, wondering if it was still looking at me. All this time happened in under a minute. Oh, there's a drawing, yeah. Ugh, that's creepy, weird. So it's just kind of enveloping her. Is that some people claim addiction is actually an evil, like an evil spirit, that some of these substances are cognitions and have a will to destroy, much like a demonic will. And so if that's the case, is this what that looks like? And that's freaking creepy. Yikes. Ugh. I wonder if that could just be exorcised away, or does she just have to get clean and then it will leave, or what? I don't know. It's so tragic, because I think, honestly, I think people are amazing, but to surrender yourself to a substance, to an impression or a control, to lose control of yourself is so tragic. I hope she finds her way through it. I don't know who she is, but I'm sending my prayers. I began wondering what I had seen and drew it once I got home. I showed my siblings a few days later and told them what had happened, and they claimed it could be a possession or a jinn. I'm still not sure, but know this. I look at people now differently who are on drugs or under the influence. How they move or walk is exactly like how this creature moves. And what if that is true? And part of the reason why they can't stop, if you watch zombie-like movies like The Walking Dead, they kind of move like that too. It's just kind of weird way they walk and shuffle. I haven't seen something like this before or since. Maybe you or your readers might know what the heck I saw. It occurred in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Best regards, EU. That's tragic, really tragic. Note, possible possession may be a thought form, manifestation, or attachment similar to a poltergeist entity. If the victim is compromised by a drug abuse or a dangerous lifestyle, this scenario seems more likely. Very interesting that it was seen by another individual, and I wonder if the witness has psychic abilities. Great questions, Lon. And great take. I mean, what if that's a projection of the addiction from the person, almost in a poltergeist-like fashion? Great thoughts. Could be. Lon might be dead on with that. Good take, but sad. Very, very sad. That's unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Okay. How are we doing for time? We're getting there. It's like 10 minutes. What can I get into here? How big is this? I can get into this one. I can do this in 10 minutes. Another one from phantomsandmonsters.com, ladies and gentlemen. Massive Bigfoot vanishes into invisible portal on the Rowan Mountain, Tennessee. Tennessee's got a lot of stuff going on there. Oof. An eyewitness has a remarkable up-close encounter with a massive Bigfoot. As the creature began to move on, it literally started to disappear into an unseen portal and simply vanished. A reader transcribed the following account and then forwarded it to me. The witness and his wife took a trip up to his sister's place on Rowan Mountain in 1989. After the first few days of running around and seeing the sights, they spent the day just hanging out at the house. This led to a few cold beverages being consumed and the grill getting fired up for that evening. Later that night, around 9 p.m., he went out in the back porch to get another beer. That's when he noticed about half a dozen deer about 100 yards out in the field behind his house. One had a nice rack and he couldn't quite make out the number of points, so he slipped off the porch and eased over to the corner of the fence, which put him at about 60 to 70 yards away from them. As he stood there against the fence watching the deer, that's when he noticed the moon. When he says he noticed it, he means he noticed that it was huge and seemed much closer than he'd ever seen it before. He stood there at his fence watching the deer, or was supposed to be, but couldn't take his eyes off this big glowing yellowish orange ball of light that seemed to be just out of reach. So after what he thought was about 20 minutes later, he found out it was more than an hour. He started noticing a tickling sensation on the back of his neck. He shrugged his shoulders and turned his neck a couple times to shake loose whatever was tickling him, and just then the deer got spooked and bounced away. The noise finally forced him to break his gaze on the moon. And that's when he realized that he'd probably been there long enough. He decided to go back inside, and he took one last look and mumbled a wow at the beauty of this little sun-reflecting satellite that orbits our world, and that's when it hit him. He felt the hot breath of a huge creature hit the back of his neck at the same time, hearing or feeling the deepest chest rumbling he'd ever heard. He spied onto his right, looking over his shoulder, and all he could see was black as far as his peripheral vision would allow. It was a Bigfoot. This all happened in a split second. When he got his head around far enough, he realized that his face was maybe 8 to 10 inches away from this thing's upper abdomen. Looking up, he saw this beast's pectoral muscles stuck off its chest about 6 inches and were huge. Its chest was every bit 4.5 feet wide. Its shoulders were as big as basketballs, adding another foot or so on each side from shoulder to shoulder. This thing was at least 6 feet wide. He didn't get a good look at his hands or face, but its arms were probably more impressive than its chest and shoulders. Its arms were covered in long dark hair, maybe 4 or 6 inches in length. If the witness had to guess, this behemoth must have been around 10 feet tall and 700 or 800 pounds, at least as its face went. As far as its face went, from the angle he was at, all he could make out was the squared off, bearded chin. Maybe it was Don. He could not see a nose, ears, eyes, raised brow ridge, conical head, nothing. So he couldn't say whether it looked more like a man or an ape. Its arms were more like an ape's, but its chest was more human-like, just a little bit more hairy than most. Now this is where the story starts getting weird. As he mentioned earlier, it all happened in a split second. As he spun around and was in the process of looking up, the creature was going from a bent-over position to standing up straight and taking a step back to his right. And as it pulled its left leg over to its right, it was like it was slipping through a slit in a green screen. The witness is not sure if it was a portal or some sort of interdimensional doorway. All he knows is this huge thing vanished within that split second. There was no foul smell associated with the creature. There was a slight musty smell, but it reminded him of the same smell a horse gives off. That's the story. Wow. So it was like it was stepping right out of existence. It was right behind him. What the hell? That's incredible. That is just incredible. Again, one of those stories, I don't know what to do with it, but I don't discount this guy saw what he saw. I just don't know what that means. But what a huge thing. How small would you feel if you turn around and you're looking at something's upper belly and then you got to look way up to see the rest of it? Oh, dear God, that would just... That's a whole different level of reality right there. Yikes. I don't know, folks. They're out there. Some people say they do portals. I've not seen that, but I've certainly heard the reports. I've talked to witnesses who swear they've seen that. I don't say that they're not right. I don't say that they're mistaken. I just don't understand it. And that's where I get stuck. But I still don't doubt that what they say they've seen. It's just, what does that mean? I don't know, but I guess that's the journey, folks. That's the big question mark, I guess. And maybe we'll never know. I don't know. But what I do know is that it is now time for the journey to end. This is the end. That's kind of a Doors reference, in case you're familiar with it. But anyway, thank you all for being here, being a part of the road tonight. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Again, Don extends his apologies. He couldn't be here, but just wish him well. Send him good healing vibes that he get over this illness quick and be okay. Maybe just ate something, It's possible. But at any rate, I bid you a fine good evening. Just remember, once again, my hearts and prayers go out to the community in Maine and dealing with the horror that happened there. And of course, anywhere where there's tragedy going on, my prayers to the world, I guess. But just remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other, help each other out. Find the magic in every day and remember to laugh as much as you can. And I will see you on Friday with Sheldon. He'll be here. I was seeing if he would be able to come on tonight, but he was still working. So that couldn't happen. But he'll be here on Friday night. So until then, you guys take care. And just know I'll be thinking of you, missing you until I see you on Friday. So until then, have a great rest of your week. And I'll see you on Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on the portal. Watch for the second part of the Lon interview on the podcast dropping late tonight, tomorrow. Watch for it tomorrow. So that's it. I'm done. That's all I got for you. Hope that's good enough. Good night, everybody.